Hello everyone, welcome back to the course on Computer Fundamentals and Problem Solving using C. This is Saroja Pathapati, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SRKR Engineering College. In this session, we are going to discuss about the history of C in detail. That is where the C language have been derived from and what are the available languages before C. And then what are the rules for writing a C program. So the objective of today's session is to learn the history of C in detail and to learn the structure of C program. Coming to the history, if you observe this diagram, you can clearly understand where the C language have been derived from. The first language that comes into existence is ALGOL, that is an algorithmic language. It was designed by international group in the year 1960. It is majorly used for creating some algorithms and it was used by academia for almost 30 years. And this is the language that have first introduced the block structure in which we can write programs with combination of blocks, that is a program composing of blocks. And these blocks will contain data and instructions. This is a powerful tool for writing a large programs. And then a basic combined program languages come into existence, and it was designed by Martin Richards in the year 1967. It was majorly used for writing compilers for other languages, but it is not using nowadays. And then a language called B is derived from a BCPL language by Ken Thompson in the year 1970. And it is majorly used for writing Unix systems, that is programming Unix systems. And then in the earlier days when the computer code have been just initialized, right? So they used to write the code using assembly language. If we want to do any task using that assembly language, we need to write some pages and pages of code for doing that. But by using this B language, we can just finish the code or task in very few lines of code. And it have its own disadvantage, that is it cannot understand the data types. That is, whatever we want to do, we need to express them in machine words only. So that is the drawback of B language. Then after, a traditional C language have been derived from this B and BCPL by taking majority of the concept from B and added some more features like data types and all, and it was designed by Dennis Rich in the year 1972. Fine. Then after, Kernighan and Ritchie have written a textbook for C, that is the C programming language first edition, but the majority of work have been done by Dennis Rich in the year 1978, and it is very famous for the Hello World program. And thereafter, American National Standard Institute have formed a committee for giving a standardized definition for this C language, and it came out in 1989, that is known as an ANSI C. They have added some more features to the original C language, and then after, International Standard Organization have assigned this ANSI C, that is it have approved the ANSI C which have been formed by the committee, and then it was named as International Standard Organization C in the year 1990. And at last, the standardization committee have added many more features and functionalities to the available C language, and it was named as C99 in the year 1999. And then to till onwards, we are using the same C language. And then coming to the structure of C program, right? So what are the rules we need to follow while writing a C program? Here is the structure of a C program, right? So majorly it contains a block slides, documentation section, links section, definition section, global declaration section, main session, and some subprogram session, right? So these sessions, right? What are the sessions available in this structure of C? These all may not be included in our C program, but main function must be included in our C program. This is the function that need and must be included in our C program. Other sessions are up to your choice, whether you can include it or not, depending on the program what we are taken, depending on the task what we need to perform. So based on that things, we may include other sessions or not, but a main function session must be included in our C program. It is a must rule. That is, the execution of our program will start from main. Right, when you write your C program, the execution of that particular program will start from our main function. So that is why including of main function is compulsory in every program in our C language. So coming to a documentation session, why we use a documentation session, right? Whenever you want to give some details about the program, right, then you make use of this documentation session, and you will write this documentation session in comments. So let us discuss the comments at the end of this session. And there come a link session. When we want to include some header files, that is, in C we have already some predefined functionality. That is, when we want to print some statements on your output screen, or else when you want to read some statements from your read some data from your keyboard, right? So these all functionalities are already predefinedly available with your C language. Whenever you want to use such kind of functionality, you need to include the header files, that is the data where it contains, right, the functionality where it resides. So you want to add that particular code into your C language. So that can be added in link session. See here, stdio.h is a header file which contains about input and output information. This is a standard input-output header file which contains input and output information. That is, when you want to take input from your keyboard, or when you want to place some output on your output screen, right? So to do that, we need to include these files, that is #include stdio.h. But majority of the compilers at present will automatically include them without you want to externally provide them, right? Coming to a definition session, whenever you have some constant variables and you want to use that particular constant value variables throughout your program, right? So suppose let us take an example like pi. What is the pi value? 3.14 something, right? But I want to use only until 2 decimals entire my program. So I have defined my pi value as this thing, right? And if you want to define some variable which value is constant throughout your program, so you can define using this definition session. Then coming to a global declaration session, this is majorly used for declaring global variables and functions. These are the things which you want to use throughout your program. That things will get included in this session. And coming to a main session, here you have 2 parts in your main session. That is, one is an declarative part and other is an executable part. In declaration part, we will write like what are the variables we need to include in our C program and all. And then coming to the executable part, we will write our logic in this, right? And then coming to a subprogram session, whenever you want to use some user-defined functions, right? We will discuss the functions in detail in our coming sessions. Just till now you remember like user-defined functions, right? Whenever you want to write your own functionality, right? You will write in separate blocks. So in that cases only you will make use of this thing, right? And the documentation session is not executable by our compiler. Fine. While writing the structure of a C program, the documentation session is not executed by a C compiler. It is just used to give you some information. And while coming to a link session, it will include all the files, all the data, what is available in that header file, and it will import into your program. Coming to a definition session, here it will create some variable and will assign some value to that variable, and this value is same throughout your program. Coming to global declaration, here you will declare some variables or functions which can be used throughout your function. And in main function, we will declare the variables and we will write our logic. And in subprogram session, when you want to write your own functions, then you make use of these things, right? Then going to a next slide, see here is an example program that I have taken. This is a link session, right? as I want to print some statement using print, that is print is used for printing something on your output screen. This is an output function which is already there in our stdio.h. So I'm importing that particular header file in the link session, and then I'm writing main. My program execution will start from here, right? And then it will enter into our program. Here this is known as a comment line, right? So the documentation session can be written anywhere in our program. So here I'm saying like my printf will display the string inside the quotation. So then after my printf will execute it, and this will be placed on your output screen, and then it will come out of our program. So this is the output you will see on your output screen, which is just simply written in our double quotes. Then what is meant by comments in our C program, right? Whenever you want to discuss something about your program, why there is a need for discussion? If suppose I'm involving in some project and I have done that project to middle, and then I got really a good offer, I want to change to some other company, right? So whatever the code written in my project is known by only me. What are the variables I have used, what are the things I have done, everything is known by only me. But the other person who will continue my project, how come he knows that particular information? So in type of comments, right, I will write each and everything. This is the variables I'm used for addition in my process or project, and this is the things I'm doing. This is the functionality which I'm using for performing addition, right? Those all things I will mention here. And majorly the comments are divided into two types. One is a single line comments and other is a multiple line comments. And the single line comments will always start with double slash. This is a double forward slash. It will always start with a double forward slash. And then multi-line comments will always start with a slash followed by star. What is the difference between these two things is, whenever we write comments in single line, then we make use of this thing, and whenever we write comments in multiple lines, that is more than one line, if we want to discuss our program, right, then we will make use of this multi-line comments. Then coming to the rules for writing comments, right, we cannot write comments as our wish. There are some rules that we need to follow. They are, when we write a program, we can write comments at anywhere, either in documentation session, either in our main program or in user defined program. It is according to your wish. And then writing comments within comments is not possible. That is, if I'm trying to use some multiple line comments, I cannot include some single line comments or multi-line comments within that thing. And we can write comments in many lines using multiple comments. And a single line comments must be included for preceded by using double slash. And these are not case sensitive. That is, you can write either using anything, that is a small characters or alphabet, small alphabets or capital alphabets. You can include anything because these are not executable by our compiler. So we can write in any case, that is using uppercase or lowercase. Right? Hope you understand this session, and in case of doubts you can ask me. Thank you for the session.